Now, look, the word Nazi has been cheapened these past 10 years. We talked about it last week with the Zizian cult. Remember that video where the leader said that it's okay to punch a Nazi? And of course, they defined Nazi as anyone who didn't agree with their incredibly extreme lifestyle. And that's been very common. It's like the boy who cried wolf. Sooner or later, the word will lose all of its meaning, and people will be okay being associated with Nazis. It's like the word racist or the word transphobic. Racist and transphobic used to mean something, and they've recently been used to describe literally anyone who doesn't affirm these extreme ideologies. And those words have become effectively meaningless, and that is bad because we need those words right now. We really do. Now they're out of the vocabulary. Thanks so much for that. Now, I say this because the Nazi salute seems to be cool again. Not the woke definition of Nazi either. The actual Nazi salute, the ones that the National Socialists used to greet each other during the Third Reich. During World War II, remember that? Remember all of that? Elon did it. People say, no, he didn't. Don't trust your lying eyes. But we saw him do it. We saw him do it. And anyone who says that he didn't do it is either a liar or a coward or an idiot. There's no other option. Here's the video. Nazi salute. No, he didn't do it accidentally. I know he didn't do it accidentally. It's not a natural movement for most people. Try it. Try the Nazi salute. I can't even lock the elbow without getting the ick. The Nazi salute with a 5-pound dumbbell could be the best arm workout anyone's ever have, and I would never know or want to know. That's how much I don't do the Nazi salute, and most people won't do it. Then there are those who say he's trolling. I do believe that he was trolling. I don't believe he's a card-carrying National Socialist, but yes, there are still actual Nazis out there, and they saw him do it. I don't believe for a minute that he doesn't understand that. People talk about him like he's some kind of once-in-a-lifetime kind of genius, but that he's also ignorant of the most infamous hand gesture in the world. Both of these things they expect you to believe. Well, which one is it? It's really giving Kanye West vibes. Before Kanye went full Nazi, oh yeah, remember when Kanye West went full Nazi? It was, he's trolling at first, and now he's selling swastika t-shirts on his website. Oh, but Kanye's a loon with no social capital. Okay, fine. Now, last weekend, Steve Bannon, you know him? Bannon did a Nazi salute to a crowd at CPAC. That's what happened. Here is the video.
Fight!
A lot of people don't like videos. Have you noticed that? They prefer for commentators to tell them what to think. Well, not here. Here's the videos. Watch it for yourself. Some joker on Piers Morgan tried to say that it's okay because he's trolling. It's no big deal.
If you're a guy like Bannon who was attacked by the government and found in contempt and dragged off to prison the way he was, and then you see a media which goes after Elon Musk because he waves at a crowd and says it's a Nazi salute, which everyone, including you, Piers, knew was not. Would I want to troll them because I have a different perspective because of what happened to me? Yeah. Is he mad? Sure he is. Is he ready to fight back? Yes. Was he willing to go to jail over it? Absolutely.
Should he be doing it?
Was he persecuted by the government? Yes. I wouldn't do it. I can say that.
So that's the point.
Bannon,
fight!
This fool has a platform with a massive following. Well, you know who else thought the Nazis were a joke? The Germans in the 1920s. Until the market crashed in 1929 and the conditions were right for the Nazis to rise, Hitler, with his little beer hall push, was the joke of Germany. True story. Now look, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if actual fascists have come to power in the United States, and this is just soft disclosure. I'm certainly not that conspiratorial, but Musk and Bannon are playing with fire here. You expect me to believe that they are both so historically illiterate that they don't know what this means, but also they should be ruling the party, the ruling party. They should be ruling the ruling party right now, but they don't know what the Nazi salute signifies. Come on. Musk and Bannon represent two sides of the Trump coalition. Musk represents the tech right, and Bannon is the original MAGA. He gave Trump his ideas. So now we see two sides of this supposedly conservative coalition, both doing the Nazi salute in public. They're playing in our faces. They are playing in our faces. Just because a person is trolling doesn't make it right, nor does it make it harmless. Since when is that an excuse? It's just trolling. Now, I really wonder what the evangelicals have to say about this, because it really looks like they made a deal with the devil for abortion rights or lack thereof. The evangelicals support Israel, and it's a foundational part of their religion that race does not matter. What matters is whether or not a person accepts Jesus Christ as their Lord and personal Savior. That doesn't jive with Nazism at all. Yes, I know. They're just trolling. They're just trolling. Ignore it, Maya. Like 8th graders. They're just lashing out. They're just lashing out. Okay. Now, the Nazi salutes on their own are troubling, but these are not standalone occurrences. During the campaign, Tucker Carlson had this historian called Daryl Cooper on, who said some seriously inaccurate stuff about Churchill in the Second World War. Tucker did not correct this man at all. To summarize what Cooper said, Cooper, who is supposedly the top working historian in the world right now, according to Carlson, said that Churchill was the real villain of World War II and that the Nazis were forced to murder millions of people on the Eastern Front because they didn't have bread to feed them. It was a mercy genocide. How nice of them. Wow. Carlson just sat there, ate it all up. I couldn't believe it. Quick history lesson for those of you who missed this day in school. Winston Churchill was the British Prime Minister during the Second World War. He stood up to the Nazis when it didn't seem like Britain had a chance at all of winning. Germany had defeated France, who was Britain's ally, and it had invaded Poland. The United States hadn't entered the war. The Soviet Union hadn't entered the war. It was tiny little Britain, tiny little island of Britain on its own against Sauron and all of those orcs. Churchill gave the famous, "We'll fight them on the beaches" speech, meaning we will fight these demons with our bare hands when we run out of ammo. That was a 300 level moment, 300 level of heroism. Just let the Persians take Greece. Like, what are you making such a fuss about? You're not going to win this anyway. That would be Tucker Carlson in 480 BC. This is the kind of person we're dealing with. Churchill was a man of singular moral clarity and courage. Our president, FDR, our president at the time, was not that. Nor was Stalin, who had made a non-aggression treaty with Hitler. Make no mistake, it was Churchill who was the hero of World War II. Okay, he had read Mein Kampf, which was Hitler's manifesto. Churchill knew what Hitler was all about and what he meant to do, and Hitler did it. And Churchill stood in his way, even if it meant the destruction of him and his people. We have no politician comparable to that. We once did have a politician at that level, and it was Lincoln, and we will come back to that later in this video. Churchill understood that moral relativism that people play with is just flippant nonsense. Moral relativism is actually a very interesting idea, and we live in a world that it created, so we probably don't even notice it. It's like the water that we swim in and we're fish. It basically says the truth and right and wrong are not absolute, they're negotiable, and it depends on the people and the culture and the circumstances. And now this is funny because people do intuitively understand that this is nonsense. Okay, if you come home and find your husband in bed with another woman and he says to you, "I was banging her, but look, you have to understand my culture and my people and my circumstances." Baby. Is that going to work? No. Are you kidding me? So call it evil. Call it an incompatible worldview. Hitler was it. And when you come face to face with it, you fight it on the beaches. That's what you do. By some sliver of luck and the Axis's general incompetence, the universe gave that victory to the Allies. But when Churchill was doing what little that he could, including killing German civilians, it was not clear that the Allies were going to win that war, or even that Britain would survive that war. And yes, Churchill was right to fight them by any means necessary, even if it meant that innocents would die, because the Nazis were really that incompatible. They were incompatible, okay? They still are, and so is their worldview. That didn't change. Tucker Carlson is either a fool or something much worse. No person should be in media who doesn't understand what really happened in World War II. Media is just too powerful a tool to be wielded by a mental toddler. And that is giving Tucker Carlson the benefit of the doubt. If he did this intentionally, then he is much worse than a mental toddler. He is a bad actor in the worst possible way. Now, Piers Morgan called Tucker Carlson out, and Tucker Carlson basically skirted the issue. Here is a clip from that.
Although we're going to come to you platforming a guy who called Churchill the real villain of World War II.
Platforming! Platforming! Talking to people we disagree with! No!
Did you disagree with him about that? Did you think Churchill was a villain?
I think
I think your country's been destroyed. And I'm part English, so I have a right to say this. I can barely go there. It's so depressing and degraded. How can you say Churchill saved Great Britain when it's in its current condition?
Well, you could say he certainly saved it at the time. I mean, he saved us from the Nazis, along with America.
Were the Nazis planning to invade?
We couldn't have won it without America, so let's be clear about that. But there's no doubt that, to me, that Winston Churchill will go down as one of the great historical figures, because without his leadership, I genuinely do not think that the Allies would have won that war.
Well, you wouldn't have been in the war without Churchill, but in the first place.
Well, we were in the war without Churchill. We were already in it.
You believe this? Okay, props to Piers for calling him out in the first place, but he should never have let him get away with it. Honor demands that Piers Morgan joust Tucker Carlson. I expect to see a sequel to The Last Duel called For Real The Last Duel, because Tucker Carlson ran his Nazi mouth. Okay? And Piers has to fight him. He just does. I don't make the rules, but I have been to enough Ren fairs to know what the rules are. But you know what? England has fallen. It died with the Queen. It just isn't the same anymore, and Piers isn't jousting anyone. And that is a real shame. You gotta joust the dude. That's all I'm saying. Now, Konstantin Kisin, he says that Carlson defamed Churchill because if Churchill was wrong and appeasement is the correct path, then maybe it is in Ukraine too. It frees us up from any moral obligation or responsibility to stand up to an aggressor and gives us the okay to do nothing, even though we got them in that situation. I think that's true about Carlson, particularly after his very embarrassing trip to Russia, but I don't think that that is the whole story. The Second World War is a foundational part of our philosophy, okay? It is who we are, the best of who we are. Asterisk, the best of who we are. By some dumb luck, the United States actually did the right thing in that war. When it was all over, we realized how truly evil the Nazis were. And we've been hanging on it ever since. No, we didn't know about the concentration camps when we went in. We found that out later. Oh, we beat the Nazis. No, we were forced to beat the Nazis because Japan decided to commit national suicide. Same thing with Russia. Oh, we beat the Nazis. No, you would have sucked them off if they didn't invade you. You were happy to carve up Poland, you godless, opportunistic sociopaths. We want to see what really happened? That's what really happened. England was actually the hero here. Nevertheless, the myth is the myth, and the myth is what matters. The Allies, including us, defeated the Nazis. Good triumphed over evil. Nearly all of our grandparents participated in some way or another. They sacrificed their lives, their health, their comfort, and with a little bit of help from God and the fates, they did it. They miraculously did it. And you do know that society is all a house of cards, right? It's based on our beliefs and our ideas. And if even 5% of the people decide to abandon them and rebel, the police couldn't stop it. And you know what? We're seeing that with fentanyl right now. We're seeing that with drugs on the streets. We see people dropping out, and it is overpowering our systems. We need to believe in this. We need myths to live by. All of society is just a mental matrix, which we build with our stories and with our values. The Second World War is part of our foundation. And you know what? It's a strong foundation. It's made out of stone. It built a great world for us and for our parents. I do not believe you can be a patriot and try to tear down the house that you're living in. I'm mixing metaphors. You can't be a patriot and tear down your country, and you can't be a good tenant and tear down the house. You know what I mean. Whatever this Republican Party is today, they want to undermine our foundational myths, and they have nothing to replace it with. They have absolutely nothing to replace it with. Their whole pitch is, at least we know what a woman is. Well, good. I'm glad. My dog knows what a woman is. Can you lead us? And don't be in the comments with, can your dog be president? Because no, he can't. He's busy at my house. Oh, you'll say, not all Republicans. Some of them still hate Nazis. Where are these people? Why are they not speaking up? They're afraid to get primaried by Elon Musk, who threatened them. They lack the moral conviction to say Nazis are always bad, and anyone who flirts with them is also bad. These are not statesmen. These are not leaders. These are sycophants and cowards. They won't even stand up for their grandparents. They won't stand up for Papa. Look, if they're out here giving the Nazi salute and defending Hitler in public, what are they doing in private? What do you think's going on behind the scenes? Look, can't be dumb here. We can't be dumb here. Now, do you remember a few years ago when the far left was tearing down statues? They tore down a statue of Lincoln in Portland. They also meant to destroy our history. In their little confused woke outbursts, they attacked anything that had meaning. They actually meant to destroy meaning. They also had nothing to replace it with. And also the Democrats failed to check them because they lacked courage. Now, it has taken 4 months. We are 4 months in. 4 months from the election. And we're in the same place with the Republicans. This is the biggest political fumble I think I've ever seen. It may be. It's as bad as the Democrats putting trans ideology center stage while a whole generation kills themselves with fentanyl. It's just like, get your priorities in order. I think these people are mad. We really have no leadership. Let's be honest with it. We have no leadership. And if we do, they cannot rise up to take their places as leaders. Maybe George Carlin was right. I'm just going to say it. Maybe he was right because he said the people are the problem. Where do our leaders come from? He asked. Well, it's the people. But I see the levers of mental manipulation here. And I do think that the American people would flatly reject Nazism, even if it's ironic Nazism and wokeism, if given the opportunity, literally any other option. And I don't know what the next step is. I hope we can give him that option. That's all. That's what I believe. Now, do I think Trump is Hitler? No, I don't. I never have. I agree with Obama in that Trump is not an ideologue. Hitler, like Churchill, was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of cat. People say, so-and-so is Hitler, so-and-so is Hitler. It's like, no, because Hitler was a very special kind of political genius. I've got a lot coming on Hitler, by the way. You know, he died 80 years ago. 80 years ago. So I guess that is a lifetime. But still, I don't think Trump is Hitler. My problem is with killing our heroes. I didn't like it when the left came for Lincoln and they were worshiping Mao. And I don't like it when the Republicans come for Churchill and they're giving the Nazi salute. I don't like either one. And yes, it can happen here. Yes, it can happen here because fascism and communism both lead to authoritarianism. And authoritarianism is the default for humanity, okay? What we have, democracy, that is the exception. It's a favorable mutation in thinking, and we shouldn't assume that it's always going to win out. These people are trying to undermine it, and they're playing with forces that they cannot control. Now, look, I don't know the why. I really don't. Why are they seeking to tear down our heroes and our foundational myths? But you know what? I know that they are. Is it an excuse for cowardice? I don't know. Is it some kind of hidden drive to reject the old like a bunch of snotty emo teens? Is it some great cosmic dance that we must dance every 80 to 100 years? It does seem like we're trapped in a cursed music box, like we're stuck in this brain-dead merry-go-round that we just were born into and you got to deal with it. But I don't have to know the why to see that it is happening. It's not on a YouTuber to establish motive. But look, I got eyes. I got eyes and I can read. Now, my mom's friend's dad, he said to me one time something very, very meaningful. And I was like 10 years old. Okay. It was a little thing. This was just before the turn of the millennium, just before the years 2000. And he said, look around. There are no more World War I vets. And we have forgotten their stories. One day, the World War II vets will all be dead and we'll forget theirs too. And I was like 10. So I was like, nah, man, we wrote them down. So we good though. We good. But 10-year-old me just could not fathom how dumb humans act in groups. We don't know the next chapter, but never, ever doubt how stupid and tragic that chapter could be. It is absolutely insane that I have to condemn Nazis and condemn people that flirt with Nazism in 2025. But you know what? I had to say that mothers were women just a few years ago. Okay? We're living Crazyville. This is Crazyville. We cannot normalize whatever this is. It's absolute insanity. Do not normalize this. So f- Nazis and f- people who flirt with them. In this house, with my babies, we praise Churchill and Lincoln for doing what had to be done when it wasn't popular. Oh, if you liked this video, definitely check out my video on the fourth turning. I hope that doesn't turn out to be true because that video basically says, yo, we're in a cosmic dance and every 80 years we repeat. It's 80 years. Hope that's wrong.